I still remember the smell of grilled burgers and the sound of laughter echoing across the backyard that sunny afternoon. It was supposed to be just another family barbecue, harmless, warm, full of familiar faces and half-burnt hot dogs. But that day shattered something deep inside me. My name is Elena, and for years, I lived quietly in the shadows of my own family. I was the one who showed up with homemade salads, helped clean up afterward, and smiled politely while everyone else shared their big, impressive stories. My husband, Mark, worked a steady corporate job. We had a modest house on the edge of town, 2 beautiful kids, and a life that looked ordinary, comfortable, safe. At least that's what everyone thought. My sister-in-law, Vanessa, was the opposite. She was loud, confident, and always the center of attention. Married to a Navy SEAL named Ryan, she carried herself like royalty. Every family gathering became her stage. She'd talk about their exotic deployments, the glamorous life of being a SEAL wife, the danger, the prestige. And me? I was the quiet one. The stay-at-home mom who never had anything exciting to share. That afternoon, as I stood by the picnic table arranging fruit platters, Vanessa's voice cut through the air like a knife wrapped in honey. "Oh, look at Elena over there, playing perfect housewife again," she said with that signature laugh, the one that sounded friendly but always carried a sting. "Honey, when are you going to do something with your life? I mean, no offense, but it must be so boring just existing." Ryan and I were just talking about how some people are built for adventure, and others, well, they're built for folding laundry. The group chuckled. A few awkward glances came my way. Mark shifted uncomfortably but said nothing. My cheeks burned, but I forced a small smile and kept arranging those strawberries like my life depended on it. Inside, something twisted painfully. Because what Vanessa didn't know, what no one in my family knew, was that my life had never been ordinary. Not even close. Years before I met Mark, before the kids and the quiet suburban routine, I had lived in a world most people only see in movies. A world of shadows, secrets, and split-second decisions that could cost lives. I wasn't just Elena the housewife. I'd once been known by a different name. A name spoken only over encrypted channels in the dead of night. My call sign had been Shadow Veil. But what I didn't know that day was that everything was about to change, and the woman mocking my boring life was about to have her perfect world exposed. The BBQ continued, but I felt detached, like I was watching everything through fog. Vanessa kept going, encouraged by the laughter. She leaned in toward the group, her voice dripping with fake sympathy. "I just worry about you, Elena. Mark works so hard, and you're here doing what exactly? It's okay to admit your life is small. Not everyone can handle real pressure. Ryan says the wives who crack under stress are the ones who never had any real purpose to begin with." Her words landed like stones in my chest. Shattered pieces of my pride scattered inside me. I had sacrificed everything. My identity, my past, my adrenaline-fueled years, to build this safe, normal life for my children. I had walked away from a career that demanded my soul because I wanted them to have a mother who came home every night, not one who might disappear on a mission and never return. Mark finally spoke up, but only softly. "Vanessa, come on. That's enough." But it wasn't enough for her. She waved him off with a bright smile. "I'm just being honest. Family should be able to talk about these things. Elena, sweetie, maybe it's time you found a little hobby. Something to make you feel relevant." I excused myself to the kitchen, my hands trembling as I gripped the counter. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. The betrayal wasn't just her cruel words. It was the silence from everyone else. The way my own husband looked away. The way years of my quiet strength were dismissed as weakness. That night, back at home, the pain settled deep. I sat on the edge of our bed while Mark slept peacefully. My mind raced back to those hidden years, the operations in hostile territories, the intelligence I gathered that saved countless lives, the nights I operated under my call sign, Shadow Veil, slipping through danger like a ghost no one could catch. I had buried that part of me so completely that even Mark only knew fragments. He thought my past was some government desk job. I never corrected him. I wanted normalcy more than glory. But Vanessa's mockery reopened old wounds. It exposed how fragile my new life felt when judged by people who had no idea what real sacrifice looked like. Days passed, and the hurt turned into something quieter, a slow-burning resolve. I was tired of being invisible, tired of smiling through the disrespect. For the first time in years, I felt a flicker of my old self, the woman who didn't break under pressure, but rose above it. Until everything changed at the next family gathering 2 weeks later. We were all at my in-laws' house again. Vanessa arrived late, as usual, glowing in a new designer outfit, talking about Ryan's latest training exercise. I stayed quiet, helping in the kitchen like always. Then Ryan walked in. Tall, composed, every inch the elite seal. His eyes scanned the room with that trained awareness. When they landed on me, something shifted in his expression, a flicker of recognition. He tilted his head slightly, studying me. Elena, right? I nodded politely. He stepped closer, lowering his voice so only I could hear. This might sound crazy, but have we crossed paths before? Your face, it's familiar in a way I can't place. My heart skipped. I kept my expression calm. I don't think so, Ryan. I'm pretty sure I'd remember meeting a seal. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. Maybe, but there's something about you. Vanessa appeared at his side, looping her arm through his possessively. Babe, stop bothering Elena. She doesn't do the whole dangerous world thing. She's more domestic. Ryan didn't laugh. Instead, he looked at me again, deeper this time. Later that evening, while the men gathered around the grill, Ryan pulled me aside near the garden. His voice was low, urgent. I need to ask you something. Years ago, during a joint op in the Middle East, there was an intelligence operative. She went by Shadow Veil. Saved our team when comms went dark, pulled coordinates out of thin air and guided us through an ambush. I never met her face to face, but her voice, the way she operated, it stayed with me. He paused, eyes locked on mine. That was you, wasn't it? The world seemed to stop. My secret, the one I had buried so deep, was suddenly exposed in my own family's backyard. I didn't deny it. I simply met his gaze and whispered, "Some ghosts are better left in the shadows, Ryan." But it was too late. The recognition was there. And Vanessa, watching from a distance, had no idea that her perfect husband had just unlocked the truth about the woman she loved to mock. The next few days were a whirlwind of quiet tension. Ryan, being the man of honor he was, didn't spread my secret wildly. But he did confront Vanessa privately. He told her exactly who I was, the operative whose call sign, Shadow Veil, had become legend in certain classified circles. The woman who had operated at a level she could only imagine. Vanessa's reaction was everything I never knew I needed to witness. She came to my house the following weekend, her usual confidence cracked and broken. Her eyes were red from crying. For the first time, she wasn't laughing. "Elena, I had no idea," she whispered, standing awkwardly in my living room. "All those things I said, about your life being small, I was so wrong. I feel utterly destroyed knowing how I humiliated you." I looked at her calmly. The old pain was still there, but it no longer controlled me. "You didn't humiliate me, Vanessa. You exposed your own blindness. You judged a book by its quiet cover without ever reading the pages written in fire and shadow." Ryan stood behind her, silent but supportive. He nodded at me with deep respect, the kind that comes from one warrior recognizing another. Vanessa broke down then, apologizing through tears. She admitted how insecure she had felt, how she used mockery to feel superior because her own life, despite the glamour, often left her feeling lonely and afraid during his deployments. I didn't gloat. Revenge, for me, wasn't about destruction. It was about truth finally seeing the light. In the weeks that followed, things shifted in the family. Vanessa became quieter, more respectful. She started asking me genuine questions instead of making jokes. Mark, shaken by the revelation, finally saw me, the real me, and our marriage grew deeper because of it. As for me, I found peace in no longer hiding completely. I still choose this quiet life for my children, but I no longer feel small. My past didn't make me better than anyone. It simply reminded me that strength comes in many forms. Some wear it loudly. Others carry it silently, like a veil over shadows. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's this: never underestimate the quiet ones. The woman folding laundry beside you might be the same one who once moved like a ghost through the darkest places to protect what mattered most. Kindness costs nothing, but cruelty always reveals the smallness in our own hearts. And sometimes, the greatest revenge isn't loud or dramatic. It's simply watching the truth unfold and finding your strength again, not in tearing someone down, but in rising above the pain with grace. Because in the end, the shadows always remember, and they never forget who truly deserves the light. Thank you for listening to my story.